Hey, it is your buddy Peace and Harmony with you here today. And we're zooming in and focusing in a little bit more in depth in terms of common mistakes that almost everyone makes with a narcissist or a psychopath. What are the blunders that all people make? What are the errors of judgment? What are the mishaps? Where do things really begin to go wrong? What are the common mistakes that people make with a narcissist? And number one is that people generally almost always think this would never happen to me. I hear about, people getting manipulated on TV. I hear about it on the news. I hear that they're violent offenders. This would never happen to me. I would be able to recognize it, coming into a relationship or coming into a business agreement. But yet the narcissist and psychopath have the appearance of being like everyday, normal, charming individuals. They can be highly intelligent. They can be highly advanced in their career. They can, hold down family positions. And there's never any sort of crack in the cover. They have people fooled and sometimes say, wow, they are that good. It's more like they are that cunning or they are that manipulative. So they're very adept at suppressing their feelings. They have a very exaggerated sense of being able to repress these and create what's known as basically a persona management or social engineering, where they're trying to come off as completely different than what they are. And so a lot of people don't know to be aware or cognizant of that. So that's really the number one thing. Also, it's difficult to recognize. This is a huge one, and I think that once people get involved with a relationship with a narcissist or a psychopath, is they tend to always make excuses for them and give them the benefit of the doubt. Oh, they've just been through a divorce. Oh, they've just lost their house. Oh, they've just, had this happen in their family. Oh, they just had this, windfall experience in their life, and that's why they are the way they are. So you tend to make excuses and then make denial for yourself simultaneously. So what are some of the excuses you might make for them? I don't really need to see their kids at this point in the relationship. They're just being very protective of them. Oh, I don't need to be involved on my birthday or special holidays when people normally, quote unquote, normally at this stage in the relationship would meet up for coffee, a drink, lunch, dinner. There is no meetup or celebration of things like Valentine's Day, Easter, Christmas, Thanksgiving. So you tend to make excuses for them and giving them the benefit of the doubt. In other words, this becomes part of your then quote unquote good nature that is taken advantage of. So if the narcissist or the psychopath can have you then making excuses for them, then they can just continue to utilize the pathological lying, which they will do on a daily basis. Like a psychopath will generally say that they lie as frequently and as easily as they breathe. So most people, again, 99% of the population would not feel comfortable lying. It wouldn't serve them. It wouldn't get them anywhere. They have a sense of morality, consciousness, right or wrong. It's analogous to basically self-destructive and, getting in trouble. And so they basically put some brakes on it. They would not even fathom the ability to do that. So it's the awareness or the lack of awareness that there are even these degree or types of manipulative people out there that they, are caught off guard, essentially. And that is what the psychopath is essentially, or narcissist is essentially gauging for. They'll give you the nicknames. They'll tell you the, flowery I loves you. They'll do certain things to keep you strung along, and they're able to assess and determine, oh, wow, look, they fell for this. And so you become, overlooking of this. And the fact also, people tend to overlook the fact that they don't have a real emotional depth. There are certain emotions that they don't discuss, and they don't open up to. And sometimes we say, oh, well, men are not open that way. They don't like to discuss this. They're not aware of this, and then just kind of make these broad brush excuses for them. And the fact that they don't really, people oftentimes, I feel and believe that in the beginning of the relationship, people are initially attracted to this. In other words, certain emotions don't, weigh them down. They don't seem to have the societal pressures. They don't seem to be afraid when most people would be afraid. They don't seem to have the social anxiety where most people have some sort of timidness or social anxiety or cautiousness. They really just throw caution to the wind, and they're basically living this, fancy-free life where it seems like nothing bothers them. They're above the law. They break the rules. People love them for that. They seem to have this in the beginning becomes part of an endearing quality. Yet as the relationship progresses, then it's used against you because they have no emotional reservoir of empathy, and they're not able to validate and discuss and connect with you on those levels. They're not able to discuss things like love. They're not able to discuss things like planning. They're not able to discuss things like commitment. It's because they oftentimes don't resonate with, they don't have this feeling to begin with, so they're not able to discuss it. I mean, if you have never been to another country, you can't really describe what it's like there. Someone who's been to that country or lived there would be more equipped to be able to discuss it. And it's analogous to what it's like with a narcissist or a psychopath. They've never gone there emotionally in their heart. They don't have that heart to go to. They don't have that emotional reservoir to go to. So they don't really discuss it. And so, again, it's in that this really transcends more than just emotions. They're very ill-equipped or superficial on abstracts, which is really part of creativity and which is really part of kind of close bonding, I feel, is that if you can discuss things like freedom, if you can discuss things like happiness, if you can discuss things like fulfillment from a genuine level, you can discuss things like peace, you can discuss things like fairness, you can discuss things like value, which are abstracts, and excitement. These are abstracts, and the psychopath is not able to pick up on this either verbally. They can mimic, so they can mimic very well. They can repeat back almost like a screen actor would memorize their lines. They're very good actors, but it's not coming from a place within them. It's come from a place that they have learned from others. So they'll see others having fun. They'll see others going out for dinner. They'll see that, they do this and this with the kids. So they'll mimic that and they'll act that because that's how they keep their life going. That's how they keep relationships going. And also the fact that, a lot of individuals then, connect with sexual arousal or that sort of connection between people as love, commitment. The fact that they're engaging in this means something, to quote unquote most people. To the narcissist and the psychopath, it does not mean anything. It's the same thing, as getting a glass of milk, a glass of water. It has no more, necessity really for the body. But they're able to manipulate people's general addiction and then quality, and then they get into the hyperarousal to keep you really connected. So that's how they're going to keep these relationships going. And then so people oftentimes then tend to equate in their mind, well, the fact that we're having all these sort of dates or whatever, that we have a relationship, when it can oftentimes in reality be very not true. The fact that, they don't really experience a lot of states of fear. They will fear being found out. They'll fear being exposed. But they really just generally don't have like a fear or a sense of really kind of loss at things. So whereas most people would have a sadness, a shock, how could that have happened? I just lost my dog, I lost my child. They're completely looking at you with a blank look like, so? I mean, they just don't get it. The fact that their own child has gone through something, the fact that their own pet has gone through something, the fact that, you are going through something, they're looking at you, they just don't get it. So they give you the blank stare. and will just continue to allow you to rattle on, and then you're not able to connect with them on that level. You're not able to have common terms, commonality, and so you end up, it's an exercise of futility. And then furthermore, mistakes that people make is that then going back and continuing to try to process things with them, with people who just aren't able to process these things. It's an exercise of futility. It's just making you, in their eyes, look weak, vulnerable, and easy to manipulate. And the truth of the matter, and a lot of people don't like to accept this, is that people make the mistake that, if I try harder, they'll like me more. If I just show them, a more of a commitment, I get them a bigger ring, a bigger house, take them to more events, dress in such and such a way, they'll find me more attractive. So they make the mistake of trying to be more attractive to them, and then they base, all sorts of hours and finances on trying to make themselves more alluring from the outside to this type of person, and that is not, going to work. The psychopath and narcissist will get bored very easily. It's just not a challenge, for them anymore. So they seek these challenges, they seek these risks for them to feel like they're alive, like they're doing something. That's just what's called for in their neurobiology, their neurohormones, the way that their white matter wires and fires, and the way that their prefrontal lobe is exasperated. That's just how, and then their dopamine sensitivity, that's what they do. And so they don't ever feel bad, and they don't really learn. Like, they just, it's not a mistake to them to cheat on you, to lie. To them, it's no problem. I mean, they don't have a problem with lying, because it's just, to them, it's just like breathing. It comes that naturally and without a conscious. No, people make the mistake of expecting, if they, rationalize things logically with them, that this will make some sort of difference, and it absolutely, unequivocally won't. In fact, it'll just be a waste of your time, a waste of your energy, a waste of your money, and then furthermore, plummet you deeper into depression and demise, because in the eyes of the psychopath, they're like, look how stupid they are. They're coming back. They don't have any respect for their victims. And even though it seems, like, oh, they want this so bad, but it's not, it's just an internal conquest to fill their boredom. People are really disposable to them. And so the other point I was going to make is that, there is no processing of this together. You might see, a moment fit of anger. That is, it's very much like a superficial anger, which they just turn on and off. Like, it's not like a building sort of anger where it builds up and it's, based on true emotion. It's just like a firing of this gadget within them that gives them an apparent rage. They might kick something, punch something, do that with their body, and then in a moment it's gone. And then they're, and meanwhile you're like, can we just believe we had this fight? And they're looking at you like, what fight? I mean, they don't have any sort of memory or emotional process which sets that up and then creates a foundation of learning or a way to treat people better. They just don't have that inside. So, these are some of the very common mistakes that people make. And so if you can recognize this, hopefully this will help you to create more lessons learned, like we discuss in the Recovery Journal. It's so and very important for your future happiness. It is your buddy, and attracting the right people, better people who give you exactly what it is you're looking for. This is your buddy, Peace and Harmony, with you here today, and I hope that these videos do help. Please share and please subscribe for more great tools, videos, discussion, and support.